Welcome back into Tapped Out with Brendan Tobin on the sports machine, Sean Levine, and it's time to get rude. Let's bring in the rude boy, Randy Brown himself, fighting at UFC 302 on Saturday night. Randy won back-to-back fights. You've won 6 out of your last 7. Your confidence must be sky high when you step into that octagon on Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never lacking any confidence, no matter what the situation is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Regardless, I'm ready to rock, man. Ready to go do what it needs to be done.
Ray, I was listening to you yesterday at the media day, and I thought you made a good point, man. Like, you have your only loss, like Sean mentioned, is to a top 5 guy with the whole regard of the rankings. The rankings are kind of crazy because you are a very active fighter, and you see plenty of guys in that division. They're just sitting idly by. I mean, what is the level of frustration like that? Because I feel like the run you've been on, excitement, you're a fan favorite. What the hell do you think it's going to take, man, for you to get the respect you deserve?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, all I could do is bring it to the light and just kind of say how I feel, but it is what it is. I'm not overly concerned about it, but it's kind of wild. I do feel like I do need to be ranked, but I don't know, man. It is what it is. Like I said yesterday, is just if y'all want to pay me to just beat up on people that y'all think is not as good, I'm okay with that. Just keep running my check and I'm all right, But at some point, I will be undeniable. Time tells all, so I just gotta chill, keep winning, and do what I'm doing, and we'll get there.
But you were mentioning, like, those numbers do matter. I guess as a fan, as a fighter, you talk amongst yourselves. I know there'll be special cases for guys who have like made it and whatnot, but like, do you feel like as fighters there should be a minimum amount of times for that to affect? Because like you would think in other sports, either whether it be with power rankings or the college football rankings, you got to play. Like you got to play, you got to fight. That stuff always matters. So do you have a number in mind that like it should affect where your standing is in the sport? Because if you're just sitting on the sidelines, obviously injuries, I guess, as an exception, but even still, do you have a number in your mind about how much you should fight and how much you should be on the sidelines where it would affect your standing in the sport for that year?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that you have to fight twice a year. I think you should be able to fight twice a year. And if you and I think that if you turn down a fight, it should affect your ranking as well. You should be bumped down, you know. But I don't make those decisions. You know what I mean? I can just make suggestions. So it is, again, going back, it is what it is. Nothing I can do, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I think people should fight once or twice a year.
Well, since we're having the conversation, boys, would that apply to champions also? Like, what would you do with a guy like John Jones?
Hold on one sec. I can't. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Randy, we were just talking about
Hey,
how often guys should fight, and you were saying they should fight twice a year. Should that apply to a champion also? Like, what would you do with a guy like John Jones?
you should fight once a year. I think John Jones, like guys like that at the top that's been around for a minute, unless it's injury or something. And I mean, again, guys, he's earned to do whatever the hell he wants. He's earned that. He's paid his dues. You know what I mean? But I think the newer champions, they should fight at least once or twice a year. Um, Look at Adesanya. Adesanya probably one of the most active champions in history. And I think that did wonders for him. So I think there's benefits there, and I think it just moved the sport along. The 185 division was on fire. It's just always great fights. It built other stars. Um, I just think it was just all around better.
Randy, from your standpoint, there's been a lot of talk this week about the new gloves going into this fight. What is your thoughts on them? I think the gold ones look a little goofy, but from the feel standpoint, people are saying about the cuts. What's your thought of the new equipment going into this week?
It's funny. I did a breakdown on my YouTube channel. If you check it out, Rude Boy Studios, I did a whole breakdown and a review of the gloves. Um, Honestly, I think it's a puncher's glove. It is what it is. It's a less padding in the knuckles. They took away a few ounces, but most of the weight is transferred into the back of it, so it's a lot less padding in the front. But the only thing I was concerned about, and I heard someone else mention it, was where the finger holes are, right? It's like it's stiff where the finger holes. So if I throw a punch like this, right, and not long and not like this, I graze someone, that those finger holes could cut people open. That's really it. I think there's gonna be a lot more cuts, but there should be a lot more knockouts and finishes because it's less padding, and it forces people to punch a little downward. But as far as eye pokes, it does nothing for eye pokes.
Did you like get them early in camp? Like, did you get to try them out as opposed to like, a typical camp? Like, because if you're gonna, I imagine that's something you want to feel and get a sense of just of what you're going in with, or are you going in cold? Like, this is the first time you're gonna, be firing live with them.
No, I've had them. I've had them. They sent them to me a few weeks ago, and that's why I was able to do a review. I trained with them. I had Sensei wrap my hands, and we worked out in them a few times. You know what I mean? So I'm comfortable with them, but I just know what it is when we start. I'm not punching my sparring partners live with 3.5 ounce gloves. You know what I mean? So now is where the real test is, when I really get to sit down and crack somebody.
Can't wait to see the new gloves. Can't wait to see the Rude Boy Randy Brown back in the octagon on Saturday night. Hey, Randy, on last week's show, we did the best nicknames in the UFC, and yours certainly came up. How'd
Oh,
you get the
nice.
nickname Rude Boy?
Oh man, rude boy. Rude boy is more of a cultural thing. You know what I mean? It's a term of endearment in Jamaica, but it means troubled youth, really. Just rude. I was just a rude kid, a bad boy, you know what I mean? And then it just kind of stuck. But rude boy is it's just a cultural thing. More so in Jamaica, you like your friends like, yo, rude boy. It's kind of like brethren or something like that, you know what I mean, here. So
Randy, the main event coming up this week: Dustin Poirier, Islam Makhachev. What do you make of this main event? Where do you think the result goes?
It depends, man. I think it's whoever could get their game plan off first, whoever could start to dictate the fight out the gate. Makachev, we know, is an unbelievable champion with the grappling ability. But I do believe Dustin Poirier is still that guy when it comes to the punching power and everything. So um, it all depends. I mean, there's a rumor that dude has staff from what I'm seeing this morning, Makachev, So if that's a factor, then, maybe maybe that could play into Dustin's favor. But I would love to see Dustin get it done. Overall, I want to see Dustin win. I'm a huge fan of Dustin Poirier. I want to see him get it done. But Makhachev is such a good champion and such an accomplished fighter and accomplished grappler. And he has Khabib. He's been training with Khabib for so long. I'm sure that's super beneficial. So it's hard for me to pick. But if that whole staff thing is real, I'm going with Dustin.
How that fight's going to go, because Islam's so good on the ground, but we know he can knock dudes out. And then you look at Dustin Poirier, he's such a good boxer, but he tried to jump guillotine like 10 times in his last fight. What about you in your fight on Saturday night? Because you finish guys with punches, with kicks, with triangle choke, with rear naked chokes. Do you have a plan for the fight on Saturday?
I could do it all. Honestly, it don't matter. Whatever he gives me, I'm an opportunistic animal. I'm gonna dictate the fight to where I want it to go. You know what I mean? But whatever is presented in those moments, based off of what I do, I'm not shy to anything. Like I'm open to taking whatever I could get in that moment. You know what I mean? But obviously, I'm gonna go out there and just put hands on him out the gate.
Your last fight, you were talking a little bit about your boxing skills yesterday, and your last fight. That was clean. The way you finished your last one, Randy. Where do you feel like you just from a boxing standpoint, even knowing that you have everything from a boxing standpoint in the UFC? I feel like you get slept on a little bit because all the of the names of best boxers. Where do you think you rank among best just boxers in the UFC?
I'm up there, man. I know people are not gonna like to hear it because like MMA fans, for some reason, they think that. Let me tell you, boxing is very different from boxing and MMA. It's very different. And if we're talking boxing, pure boxing, I think I'm the best in the entire UFC. And that's going to be a hot take, but it is what it is, And I think that I rank amongst the MMA boxers. I wouldn't consider myself just a boxer. Do I have some of the best boxing in the game? I believe so. I'd say I'm in the top five, you know what I mean? But I think that I'm up there, man. Boxing is very different. There's a science to it, you know what I mean? It's not just throwing punches, not just left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, you know what I mean? So there's a science behind it, and I think I have a lot of those nuances.
That's where the money's at, Rude Boy. What are you doing? I mean, I agree with you. You're such a good boxer. UFC, would you ever think about just doing that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm under contract with the UFC though. It sounds like everyone says that, like, oh yeah, you should box. It's like I can't. I'm under contract with the promotion, and I love being an MMA fighter and a UFC fighter. But when that time comes, I'm sure my name will be in the hat, hopefully, especially the further I climb in my MMA and my UFC career. Because for some reason, only the guys at the top in MMA get those opportunities. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, I need to take care of this and keep building my platform here so that when that time comes and one of them come out of their face and they want to step up, I could take full advantage.
You have a lean on Masvidal, Nate Diaz next month?
Masvidal, Nate Diaz. Shoot. I'm going Masvidal. I feel
Randy,
like Diaz is not really into it. I mean, none of them are really probably not even into it anymore. They're just trying to get a bag. But if I had to go with the more skilled guy, and plus we've had Masvidal beat him already, Diaz in the past. So pure boxing, I'm gonna go with Masvidal right now.
Root Boy Randy Brown joining us here on Tapped Out. Hey, before you get out of here, with a win on Saturday night, who are you going to call out? What are you going to say on that microphone?
I can't give you the call out now, but I can't give it up here. That's gonna ruin it. But we do have a name, and yeah, just stay tuned. Tune into the fight.
Randy, we
Now I'm
messing
more
it.
excited, dude.
Randy, we're messing it all with Rangers Panthers. Or you're sticking with do you mess with hockey at all?
You know what's funny? I went to a hockey game a few years ago, right? My brother-in-law, super fan. Shout out Phil, super fan of just hockey. You know what I mean? He's a big hockey guy and Rangers. So I'm inclined to go with the Rangers, right? But I didn't know how fast they move on ice. When you watch it on TV, it's a different thing. I went to a game and I was surprised, man. I was surprised at how big these dudes are, how athletic and agile they are, and they move extremely fast and they hit the board and the glass extremely hard. So yeah, shout out to them. With that being said, I went to an Islanders game, so I'm an Islanders fan. Just
So
based off of that,
I like that. You
I
know
like
what, man?
Barzell.
No,
you
no
know,
bad,
but
no bad blood down here
I'm
from
rocking with
South
the
Florida. Then,
Rangers. I'm
nah,
rocking
come
with the
on, man.
Rangers, though.
You don't mean that. Then you should rock with the Panthers. You're the rat.
Hey, no, I can't because listen, it's New York. I got to go with New York. I gotta back them.
It makes sense. It's going to be, hey, it's a good series now. All even at what, 2 games apiece. So looking forward to the rest of that. Looking forward to your fight coming up on Saturday night. Rude Boy Randy Brown joining us here on the BetQL Network. Thanks so much, man.
I appreciate it, man.